Welcome, dear friends, to today's exploration of what many call the Constitution of Christianity, the Book of Romans. Written by the Apostle Paul to believers in Rome, this powerful letter continues to transform lives today. The story begins with a profound truth that echoes through time. We all face the same fundamental challenge. Every one of us, regardless of our background or achievements, has fallen short of God's glory. Picture walking through the ancient Roman ruins, where countless people once lived, loved, and struggled with the same human condition we face today. But here's where the story takes an incredible turn. Right in the midst of our brokenness, God revealed something revolutionary, a path to righteousness through faith in Christ. It's not about our perfect performance or flawless record. Instead, it's about trust, just like Abraham demonstrated thousands of years ago. Speaking of Abraham, his story serves as a powerful example. Imagine standing under a vast starry sky just as he did, believing God's seemingly impossible promises. And God counted that simple faith as righteousness. This same principle applies to us today. Justification comes through faith, not through our own efforts. This faith opens the door to something remarkable: peace with God. It's not just about being declared righteous. It's about entering into a new kind of life. God's power in the gospel leads us into a process of transformation, what theologians call sanctification. It's like emerging from darkness into light. Think about that for a moment. The Creator of the universe offers us peace not because we've earned it, but because of His incredible love demonstrated through Christ. But the story doesn't end with justification, leaving behind our old way of life and embracing a new identity in Christ. Through God's Spirit, we're empowered to live differently, to reflect His character more and more. In Romans, Paul paints this beautiful picture of what it means to be truly free. Not free to continue in sin, but free to live out our new identity in Christ. It's a journey of becoming who we were always meant to be, guided and empowered by God's Spirit. This is the gospel of God's power, not just a set of beliefs, but a transformative force that changes us from the inside out. It's a story of redemption, restoration, and renewal that continues to unfold in the lives of believers today. Let's dive into one of the most profound chapters in Romans, chapter 6. It tackles this fascinating question about sin and grace that many of us struggle with. Imagine this. You're at a restaurant with an all-you-can-eat buffet. Someone might think, well, since it's unlimited, I should eat as much as possible to get my money's worth. Now Paul addresses a similar, but much more serious question in Romans 6. Should we keep sinning so we can get more of God's grace? Paul's response? Absolutely not. He's practically shouting, how can we who died to sin still live in it? It's like saying, why would you want to go back to prison after being set free? But here's where it gets really interesting. Paul uses this powerful metaphor of baptism to explain what happens when we accept Christ. Think of it like this: when you're baptized, you're not just getting wet, you're acting out a profound spiritual reality. As you go under the water, it's like you're being buried with Christ. And when you come up, that's you rising to a completely new life. Now here's the game changer. Paul tells us our old self was crucified with Christ. That's huge. It's like your old operating system has been completely wiped out. The body of sin, that old programming that made you slave to bad habits and destructive patterns, has been rendered powerless. But Paul doesn't leave us floating in theory. He gets super practical. He says, consider yourselves dead to sin but alive to God. It's a daily choice, friends. Every morning when you wake up, you have to make this mental shift. I'm no longer sin's puppet, I'm alive in Christ. Would you rather play in a discord of sin or create beautiful music for God? Under grace, we're not just avoiding sin, we're empowered to live righteously. That's the revolution of Romans 6. Remember, grace isn't a license to sin, it's your power source for holy living. Now that's something worth getting excited about. The book of Romans. In chapter 6, we discovered the power of God's grace, that we are dead to sin and alive in Christ. Today, in chapter 7, Paul takes us into the battlefield of the Christian life, the tension between the law, the flesh, and the Spirit. Let's walk through this together. Paul starts with a really relatable illustration about marriage. Think about it. Just as a wife is legally bound to her husband while he's alive, but free when he passes away, we were once bound to the law. But here's the beautiful part. Through Christ's death, we've been released from that binding relationship with the law, and now we're united with Christ instead. It's like getting a fresh start with the perfect partner. Now some might ask, well, was the law bad then? And Paul jumps in with a strong absolutely not. The law is actually holy and good. It's like a perfectly clear mirror. It shows us exactly what's wrong. But it can't fix the problem. Imagine looking in the mirror and seeing food stuck in your teeth. The mirror helps you spot the problem, but you need something else, a toothbrush, to actually solve it. Paul gets really personal here, saying, I wouldn't have even known what coveting was if the law hadn't pointed it out. It's fascinating because the law doesn't create sin, it exposes it. It's like turning on a light in a dusty room. The dust was always there, but now you can see it clearly. And this brings us to what I think is one of the most honest and relatable passages in the Bible. Paul opens up about this inner struggle we all face. You know that feeling when you want to do what's right, but somehow end up doing what you know isn't? That's exactly what Paul's talking about. It's like having two opposing forces within you, one pulling toward good, and another toward what we know we shouldn't do. This raw honesty from Paul is actually incredibly encouraging. Here's one of the greatest apostles, admitting he struggles with the same internal battles we do. It reminds us that being a Christian doesn't mean we're suddenly perfect. It means we're in a process of growth, learning to rely more on Christ's strength than our own.